Hi everyone, welcome. I'm down here in my wormery and yes, I've got a new addition. It's this bug trap. I bought the thing in from outside. It's been outside and I've never tried it down here, but I was starting to see a lot of little gnats and stuff, so I thought that this thing might help alleviate the issue. But I'm not here to talk about my bug zapper. I'd like to talk about these African night crawlers. These are the ones that I'd like to try to get in on today and feed. Naturally, if there's a lot of leftovers in here, we're not going to feed. But what they got 8 days ago was pumpkin and carrot peels. Somehow I've got a feeling that that stuff's going to be running pretty low if it's not all gone already. So I wanted to try to squeeze in another feeding at 171 days old and after 19 feedings. No, wait, 18 feedings? 18 feedings. Today will be the 19th feeding, so it's getting up there, you know. A lot of times my bins, get around 150 days old or around 15 feedings and I start to drive them towards harvest. Here, I've decided to try to push the envelope and go a little bit further, and we're going to throw in a little bit of food for them. So let me put on a glove. I'll turn off this bug zapper so it's not making noise here for us, and we'll get to work. When we were in here last time and I chose to give them pumpkin and carrots, that was intentional because I know that those are the sort of things that they're going to eat pretty quickly and stuff that's not going to leave all kinds of leftovers for weeks and weeks and months. And that's kind of the same reason I've gone with this assortment of different pieces of I think it is cabbage. Or could it be cauliflower? I'm not quite certain. It's another one of the contributions that we get from my mom once in a while to feed the worms with. We made the decision last time to remove the plastic covering because things were a little bit damp in here. I thought it might help to let the system air out a little bit. It was another reason I wanted to get back in here after 8 days. A lot of times I've been waiting longer, 10, 14, 15, whatever days between feedings and check-ins. But in this system, I thought it might be a good idea to make sure that we've not allowed things to get overly dry too quick. And I don't think that's the case. It still feels quite damp. It's so surprising considering the only thing covering this is a piece of newspaper. I think I am going to stir it all together. It just feels so different than it should somehow. It feels like it should be crumbly and flowing, and it's all clumpy, and I don't understand why the moisture doesn't seem to diminish after being so lightly covered for so long, but I'm just getting this feeling like a good agitation all around might be what this system could use. Bring some of the more damp stuff up high, and at the same time, create a good number of air pockets throughout the material to hopefully help it dry a little bit. But you know what, before we get into doing that, why don't we just examine how the feeding is coming along just so we can size it up. Because I can already see bits and pieces of it in here as leftovers, but I really don't think it's a whole lot. Because I think it was quite a bit actually. I just reached down low and I also found another very old leftover. It's the seed out of a mango. The worms usually like to get inside there and nibble on the actual seed. This outer husk is also pretty popular usually. So that's the sort of thing that's definitely not going to break down anytime soon. That'll probably just go with the worms to their new home. So, I'm trying to think through what we want to accomplish here. And I think one thing we don't want to have happen is that all these yummy bits of carrot and pumpkin end up floating out on the top of the surface of the material, especially since we're not covering it up very thoroughly. So perhaps rather than just going willy-nilly at this, if we are going to pull out... Oops. Another mango seed. Wow, things like jam-packed with castings. The worms are really mobbing this thing, getting in there for the yummy food. That's why I'm leaving it. Let them keep nibbling at it, and at some point it'll just come out. But yeah, my idea was to, it'd be nice to give the whole thing an upturn, but I want to keep that leftover food low. So I think we're going to kind of start bringing in stuff with which to immediately just cover it right up. How does that sound? And at the same time, we're going to be upturning all the material from the outer edges, aerating the whole contents. We'll just try to do so in a careful fashion so that we don't end up tilling up a whole bunch of the stuff that we're trying to keep submerged. And we can sort of transfer the whole shebang over to the side a bit, give ourselves a bit more room. Yeah, that might work. I guess we'll just drop in the new food right down the middle. But at this point, the old food's going to get pressed out a little bit, I suppose. in a way. What do we got down here? It's really not that much. I mean, there's bits and pieces of it here and there. There's worms throughout it. It's not the sort of leftovers I would expect to see in here next time we come in, so I'm pretty sure that that stuff's all going to be history by the time we come back in here next, whatever that may be. But also, you know, I mean, you look at the stuff that they're going to be getting now, a bunch of leafy stuff that's been frozen, and once it starts to thaw, it's just going to almost like melt in their mouths. So I usually don't see a lot of leftovers of that sort of stuff sticking around for too long. There's a lot of worms out here. Again, I don't know why, but I somehow always end up going kind of maybe reading left to right from where I'm standing. Maybe that's the reason I always start on that side, but it just so happens that as I pull these bins off the shelf, it's this side over here. It's got the label on it. It's the side that faces into the room so I could read the label. And for some reason we've been just somehow, I don't know, I'm sort of noticing it here that this material out here seems to have a greater number of worms in it than the other stuff that we've seen so far. And I keep theorizing and I keep repeating it, so it's probably becoming boring, but it does seem like this warmer side of the bin, which is facing into the room, versus the other side, which is up against the wall where a little bit of the cold air from outside sneaks in. It does seem like they like this side of the bin, and I'm theorizing it's because perhaps it's just a little tiny bit warmer over here. Yeah, there's a good amount of worms down in this stuff. There was a point in time when we were moving the worms out of their old system and into this system, and we actually counted them one by one each time we did a haul out over numerous occasions, I believe. And I've even got a number of estimated worms for this system. Can you guess how much it is? I've probably said it before in the past, so some people might already know. But I just figured as long as we've kind of gotten a glimpse of the entire system at this point, checking out all reaches of it, we've seen how densely the worms are populating it in all the different sections. I was wondering what people think as far as worm count in here. Tick, 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 tick. All right, time's up. It's let's see if I remember correctly. I think it's a pretty nice round number, which is interesting. Because we did actually count them one by one. So, you know, if we pulled out 93 worms, then we pulled out 93 worms. That's what we recorded. But somehow over the course of multiple haul-outs with a bunch of oddball numbers, we ended up with a pretty round estimate of, I believe, 1,050 worms in here. So there again, that's just an average of, not an average, it's an actual count of worms, believe it or not. But don't forget, you know, after all that time that has passed, these little guys have been breeding and multiplying, presumably, hopefully, and increasing their numbers, so who knows how many we've gotten here. So, I don't know. I was really wanting to get this stuff tilled up, so I took a lot longer here than I wanted to, but I don't know. I don't know why this stuff won't dry. It almost feels like if I had it in one of those fabric grow bags, the stuff would probably dry perfectly. Because I had material that was very similar to this in consistency come out of my outdoor compost barrel, and I had no other containers to put this stuff into, so I had these grow bags laying around. So all the compost that came out of my outdoor compost barrel ended up in a few grow bags, and within about a month and a half, the material in those bags all dried almost to like a perfect consistency, where it would just all crumble right in your hands into a beautiful fine castings. And I wish that's how this stuff was. Let's well, before we do that, let's plop in these old bits of food. These guys are probably going to want to stay huddled up inside these seed shells, or whatever they're called, for a little while longer, at least until the material right around them all thaws out. I've just thrust them right into the middle of a frozen pile of food. I just thought there was one more little piece of this somewhere, but I don't know. I can't seem to find it. Whatever. It'll all come out in the wash, right? Isn't that what they say? Alright. I gotta tell you, these northeast worms, they're fat. And I didn't think I'd be able to keep them big and fat, because I knew that I'd be keeping them in a smaller, more constrained space than what they were used to or what they were raised in. because I believe, you know, the more room you give worms, the larger they'll tend to grow at times. And I know that the nourishment that they receive here in my wormery is probably not nearly as what they get at a, you know, a legitimate worm farm breeder. So I kind of suspected that my worms might diminish in size a bit, but these are good sized worms. They're nice and healthy looking worms. Perhaps not quite as large as they were when they first arrived. And, you know, some of them are babies, so that obviously counts for why some of them are tiny. But they look good. I like the way they look. So I guess on with the feeding zone indicator, on with the paper coverings, and that's the way we'll leave it. We're going to leave it to continue airing out, hopefully drying out a little bit and becoming a lot more crumbly, which is what I'd like to see in here. I don't know if there's anything I could do to make that happen, short of, you know, dumping in a bunch of dry bedding or something else, but then that defeats the purpose of trying to drive this thing towards finish, towards harvest. If I blended in a whole bunch of fresh bedding, you know, the stuff would be almost starting from scratch. It would require a great deal of time to get to that harvest stage. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it's just patience is all I've got to give this thing, and then it'll get nice and dry and we can proceed towards trying to move the worms out. So that's it for today's check-in with our African night crawlers. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully the bug zapper gets all these little guys at some point soon, because I'm getting annoyed by seeing so many flying insects in my wormery. So whatever, that's a topic for a different video, I guess. Before I go, let me just really quickly say thank you. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please, as always, don't forget to leave me a quick thumbs up before you go. And if you haven't done so already, please also consider subscribing to the channel. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.